Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're gonna put in some work today. Let me show you what I have going on over here. So today we're working on this 2013 Chevy Cruze LTZ with the 1.4 turbocharged engine. I'm sure you can see it here. It's the little Terpsky on here, this part right here. So we're gonna go ahead and replace the water pump. Hopefully we finish pretty quickly. But for those of you that don't know where the water pump is, it is pretty much this pulley right here, behind this pulley. First things first, as you guys can see, I have already lifted up the car here. Jack stands, wheel off. So once you have the car lifted up here, let me go down here. First thing to do is to, as you guys can see, there's usually some splash shields here. Some shields, as you can see, this one's already torn to hell. So that kind of saved me a little bit of time. So take this one off, at least. These Chevy engines do like their star sockets here. So make sure to hit Harbor Freight or wherever the hell you buy tools and just get yourself a little set here like this. This one's like 10 bucks. Star sockets. Not the, there's a couple of different ones. Make sure to get the star socket. Star sockets. That's what you need, the star sockets. For this one, I believe what we're gonna need is the E14. Which is, I believe it's this one. Let's get going. I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much loosen the tension of this thing. But this is the tensioner basically. Loosen this up, you can see, loose. So you wanna hold it here. So once you push it down here, just go ahead and use a punch or something and grab this little spring that's in here. So you can see I loosened up the belt here. Well, pretty much took it off. Turn the tensioner here, close it down, put the punch inside here. There's a little hole. I think the stock one, there's like a hole back here somewhere, I believe, if I remember correctly. But this one had it here. So I just went ahead and did that. That way, belt is loose. Just gotta remember the routing of it. Just make sure, you know, like that, all the way over there, top, comes back down. All right, so after this, we're gonna go ahead and loosen up the lower engine mount bolts here. So there's 1, 2, and 3 over here. We're just gonna loosen them up. We're not gonna take them out just yet, but we're just gonna go ahead and crack them loose. Once you guys loosened up these 3 bolts here with a 15mm socket here, you're gonna go ahead and put a jack with a piece of plywood or wood or whatever you want to call it, just like a flat piece, so you don't, you know, crack the oil pan here. Pretty much raise the jack up to the oil pan here, because after this we're gonna go up there. So let's go up there. All right, so now that we're on top over here, we're gonna go ahead and take off this air box here along with the tube here, which for first we're gonna take this airflow sensor, mass off airflow, I think it's called. There you go. Just get that out of the way here. After that, I believe there is that line that I think is a vacuum or air line here. There you go. It's off. Just put it to the side here. And lastly, pretty much just take off these little bands that hold it together. All right, as you guys can see, you got that part off. And that's a little turbo here. We're probably gonna close this off just, you know, so we don't get any debris in there. But now after this, we just pretty much just hold on by plastic grommets, if I recall. There you go. We're good to go. All right, so now that we have this big old space here, as you guys can see, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this sensor here, which is the cam sensor, I believe. Put this again out of the way. And this right here is the thermostat. So we're also gonna disconnect the coolant temperature sensor. Disconnect this one. Disconnect it. I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys down, but disconnect it. All right, so here it is, the coolant temperature sensor. Now to take this sensor off, it's a little bit tricky, but not really once you get the hang of it. It's pretty much this little tab here. You can push it down or you can push it up. But since that little thing here, the little tab is on this side, you have to push, you pretty much have to pull it. You pull it up or to your side toward you, then pull it up straight up, and pretty easy. So if you do that, just throw these little connectors to the side here. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the top engine mount. These 3 and 1, 2, 3, 6. And I believe these are 15mm as well. Make sure you have the jack in the bottom here, ready to rock. Where is it? There you go, with the wood plank here, because it will go down. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, now that we have the top of the engine mount off, I just went ahead and left it with the bolts inside just so I won't lose them. So you definitely want to keep an eye out for the bolts. And for the nut, I just went ahead and placed it back in here just so I won't lose it. So now that we have the top side of the mount here unbolted, we're gonna go ahead and remove this bottom piece here. Again, there's those 3 bolts, 1, 2 on the bottom and 3 over here. So just go ahead and take that one off. All right, so this lower portion of the mount is out. We're gonna go ahead and use our E12 star socket here on these little bolts here. So this is the pulley for the water pump, and we're gonna go ahead and take it off. All right, so this is with the pulley off. Set the pulley down here with the bolts here, which actually I'm gonna put it down here. This belt is pretty new. I remember replacing it when we replaced the tensioner there. No big cracks here. All right, so now that we're here, as you guys can see, there is water dripping somewhere down here, I believe. Yeah, the spot here is wet. We gotta take off, replace this water pump. It's probably never been replaced, to be honest. And so before we do that, we have to pretty much drain the antifreeze. We forgot to do that. We're gonna go ahead and do that right now. So we're down here with a bucket here, which are gonna collect the antifreeze. Well, not collect it, but you know, this is the petcock here for the radiator. We're on the passenger side. It's right there on the edge, right there. All right, so now that it's almost finished draining the coolant, we're gonna go ahead and just sand it, and we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this coolant hose that goes behind here, the water pump. It's actually a heater hose, so be careful with this because these are, I'm pretty sure it was stuck on here, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be stuck on yours as well, especially if it's the original one. So just make sure to use the pick, kind of, you know, try to loosen the grip of it, take it off. After taking this hose off, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this radiator hose here. So for this one, as you guys can see, there is a little metal, not ring, but a half ring here, a lock, which you use a pick. We just pick it up and this should loosen the hose there. So we go ahead and do that. Easy peasy, no struggle whatsoever with that one, for sure. After that, pretty much loose. There is one hose, but we're not gonna bother with it right now because it's actually behind this. I'm not sure you guys can see it here, which is that hose right there. So that's the last hose, but we can't really reach it from here. We're gonna go ahead and wait until we actually have the water pump off. That way we'll go ahead and just pull the coolant hose there forward as well, and we go and take it off. Then again, star sockets and start moving all the bolts. Don't take them off all the way. Make sure that you know where they are, because they do come in different lengths, so you definitely don't want to mix them up, for sure. Just be careful of that. And there you go, this is water pump off. This little holes here was a little bit of a pain, but we got it done. Now as you guys can see, there is some residue of old gasket or whatever. Just go ahead and take a razor blade, or I have a plastic razor blade here. We're just gonna go ahead and kind of clean up all the gunk we can. Oh, actually, it's actually the damn gasket. So we're gonna go ahead and peel all this off, clean it up, and pretty much go to a parts store, and with the magic of the internet and editing, you're gonna return with this clean and the parts already here. All right, so we're back. We went ahead and cleaned this thing out as best we could. Just make sure you don't miss that shady part right in that bolt hole right there. These are the parts right here: gasket, water pump, thermostat here. So this is pretty much like one piece thermostat with the housing and the sensor here. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this together, slap it on there, and do the reinstallation. Gasket is on with a little RTV there just to hold it in place. Thermostat is on. I mean, it only goes one way. You can't really mess it up. So first, now that we have this set up ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much in reverse order. I mean, nothing to it. Once you take it off, you know how to put it back on. I mean, hopefully, you know. But first things first, we're gonna connect this coolant hose right here, the one that's kind of hiding there. Because if you don't put it right now, it's gonna be a pain to put it back on later on once it's bolted back on. So put this on right now. Do it right now. All right, so we went ahead and presented all the little star bolts here. As you guys can see, gonna go ahead and snug them down with the air ratchet. All right, so finally, water pump is bolted down. I'm gonna go ahead and start reattaching all the hoses, which is radiator hose up front and the heater hose here in the back. All right, both hoses are now on. Next up, connect the engine coolant temperature sensor on top over here. Go ahead and put the pulley back on that water pump right there. You can torque this to 16 foot-pounds if you like. I usually go left hand strength, which is about the same. Next, you're gonna go ahead and connect this cam sensor here back on. Once you do that, we're gonna go ahead and run the belt once more. All right, so now that we have the belt, we're gonna go ahead and install the lower portion of the motor mount here. These two bolts. So we're gonna go ahead and install these and torque them down to, I believe they're 45, a little bit more because they're torque to yield. So it's 45 and 60 degrees. But we're gonna go ahead and torque them down at the very least. All right, so now that this bottom portion of the engine mount is on, we're gonna go ahead and put the top portion, which is this one here. So for this one, I'm gonna do the same thing. The only thing, because the engine is lifted up, we're gonna have to drop down the engine a little bit just to kind of balance it out over here. But yeah, same thing. These are torqued to 46 foot-pounds, but they are torqued to yield as well. But I don't have new bolts, so I have to make do with what I have. So I'm pretty much gonna torque them down to like around 48 or so. All right, so now that we have the mount already torqued down and everything, we're gonna go ahead and drop the air box here and connect it back here. So like this. All right, so we got that bottom portion on there, which is pretty much just this grommet down here. This thing right here. And this little air hose here. That's for the bottom portion. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the rest of the thing here. This hose that goes right there. All right, so air box is on. Mass airflow is on. Everything's on. Screws are screwed on. That's pretty much it. But we are missing one thing. And that is the radiator plug from the bottom. You definitely don't want to miss this, or else, you know, you'll go dry. So let's go ahead and install this. So now that we put the radiator plug in the bottom there, pretty much done. Let's go ahead and put some coolant on. So before we go ahead and bleed the system from, you know, the coolant over there, let's put on the wheel. All right, so we're dumping coolant in here. Just kind of letting it fill up to its thing before we turn it on. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the car, and hopefully, you know, everything is good. So start the car. So when we start the car, we are going to turn on the heat. Pretty much crank up the heat all the way on high. This fan is going to be on low, from what I remember. And nothing should be on. No defroster, no AC, no recirculating. Just let this do its thing. So now that we're here in the engine bay, so what we're looking for, this coolant is going to drop, it's supposed to. The thermostat needs to be open once it's warm up. So we're checking for the thermostat to open, so this can drop level, we can refill it. And we're waiting for the fans to turn on as well, which is these fans over here. So just give it a couple of minutes. Usually it takes, probably it's going to take 10 to 15 minutes or so. So I'll update you guys a little bit later. We're pretty much done. Fans were on full blast. Coolant here's kind of going down. Job well done. Well, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video fixing this car. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future content. And well, see you guys next time. Peace.